Hello, I am back with 2025 quarter two wrapped, what I consumed. I don't really have a name for this. I kind of just like keep changing it. I kind of like wrapped. Whatever, we're moving on. The title doesn't really matter. You guys get the point. I'm doing quarter two, which will encompass April, May, June. I really love making these. I love how oh my God. That's how I feel. I love making these. I love how invested people get in the comments. Please continue with the recommendations. A lot of people have asked me to do a music section, which is really cool. I think that you can tell from the amount of movies and TV I consume and theater that I am more of a visual medium girl. I can't really talk about the craft of music. Like, I don't have the words for that. I can talk about album rollouts. Like, I'll talk about music videos. But that's not really my language, so I'm just going to leave that to experts. I think there's a lot of people who are just really smart about that. Without further ado, we'll get into it. I think if you are watching one of these for the first time, basically I track everything I watch, read, whatever in my Notion, and then these are like things I want to watch. And then this has all dates. Everything in gray is kind of what I've already spoken about in quarter one, and then everything in black will be quarter two. And then I put everything in a Google Doc because I think it looks fun and it is in Times New Roman, and something about it scratches an itch in my brain. So quarter one was January to March. Everything is listed here. You can watch that video if you want. It was very fun. I think I'm just going to enter this down and kind of start on a new little page. Okay. We're set up. It looks a little messy, but it's going to get itself all figured out. I usually start with movies. Guys, I'm so ready. I have so many beverages. I have this iced coffee and then water and then tea as well. But the tea isn't caffeinated, so don't worry. Okay, let's talk cinema, the films, the movies, whatever you want to call them. I feel like I've had a goal this year to try to watch some more movies instead of watching TV. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but there was a couple weeks where I was able to just like slip in some of the things that have been on my watch list. There's a bunch of good stuff on here. Looking at this list of what I saw, my main rec, like the best one I saw out of all of these, was How to Have Sex. I have looked up this movie multiple times in looking for the director's name, looking for more information on the release, the lead actress, like etc., etc. And I always do the mistake of typing How to Have Sex into Google, which is like, I mean, luckily it came right up. It knows me, but there's been a few times where it's been like wiki how. I'm like, no, that's not what I wanted. 2023 coming-of-age drama, film written and directed by Molly Manning Walker in her directorial debut. The film stars Mia McKenna Bruce, three 16-year-old best friends who encounter new friendships, sexual pressures, and self-discovery. The Greek island of Crete for a rites of passage holiday. Oh my gosh, this movie was so good. I was really locked in. It's 90 minutes. It moves really fast. Mia McKenna Bruce is brilliant in this film. She also looks so young, which I really worked for this. It basically just explores sexual rites of passage and like the female body and partying and feeling that young, and in a time where I'm growing older, reminiscing about maybe my teen years and early 20s, I was instantly brought back to a time of just disgust. Like you're not sleeping, you're not eating, you're just drinking, or you're eating like terrible food, and you feel sits on you in the film. And then that combined with the vulnerability of these first-time sexual experiences is really heart-wrenching. I think it was one of the best on-screen explorations of consent that I've seen. I don't want to give anything away, but a lot of things are not explicitly said or are explicitly consented to, but feel very not consented to. In the ways in which women, when they are together in like a party environment, are either perceptive or not perceptive to each other, and the ways in which they can use that as an opportunity to either further or limit the relationship. Just a really incredible debut. If you asked me before I saw The Materialist what if it would make this list, I would probably say yes. After seeing The Materialist, I'm going to say no. The film had a lot of great sections. I think it has really good writing. I'm a huge Celine Song fan. Past Lives is like my favorite. The lead character, played by Dakota Johnson, is a matchmaker. There's a lot of online discourse about this film, so I don't really want to talk about it too much. There's a big argument that it broke man propaganda because the protagonist, I'm giving this away, skip this if you don't want to have anything given away. She ends up following like her love, who is this 37-year-old struggling actor, However, there were just a lot of things that I found really not. There were so many sections where Celine Song's writing is so accurate. And then there were other sections that I just felt production-wise and plot-wise kind of fell short. I think that Dakota Johnson has more chemistry with Pedro Pascal. So when I was told that they were not in love and that she was in love with Chris Evans, I was like, okay, sure, I'll believe you, but I don't. I think they also painted, as someone who like is an actor and lives in the city and knows the struggle and the financial means of that, painted the guy's life as so in this apartment with all these roommates. And like, I think you can be a 37-year-old struggling actor and still have found spaces for yourself in the city that make you feel like an adult and a man. You can have adult roommates that are clean. Felt like that was a little bit pushing it. It kind of was pushing the capitalist narrative, and I think that's why so many people were like, oh no, like why is she with him? I don't think that they were showing the maturity that also comes with someone who doesn't make a lot of money. There can be a version of that person who is stuck in their life, and there's also a version of that person who is really mature because they're going for what they want, or they've let go of material things, which I think is what the movie was trying to say. Outstanding circumstances just didn't fit right. So then when people are like, this is broke man propaganda, I was like, yeah, it kind of is. I watched Juno for the first time. Juno is incredible, but it's so tone deaf in so many ways. So that was kind of funny to see. I liked Sinners. I didn't love it. I love the hype. I love this cinematic push to people to go to the theaters. It wasn't my thing. That doesn't mean you shouldn't see it. La Chimera, I also liked, but I wasn't that in love with. This is the Josh O'Connor movie where in Italy and he somehow knows where old temple graves will be found in the ground from the Etruscan. I literally was just fascinated by learning about how Etruscan women enjoyed a higher degree of social freedom and independence compared to their contemporaries. They participated in public life, held property, and were even depicted in art alongside their husbands, sometimes in positions of apparent equality. Just kind of cool. I was more excited about Etruscan women. It was a good movie though. No Other Land, I also highly recommend if you haven't seen it yet. This won the Oscar for Best Documentary. Basically, it shows the destruction of a Palestinian community in the West Bank. As I understood it, these like mountain communities that have been there for thousands of years. I think that the interesting thing about the film is that basically they come in and they come to these people's homes and they literally bulldoze them over. So everybody is pulling stuff out of the house. The women are crying, the children are crying, the men are arguing with the Israeli forces, and you basically watch these homes be flattened. When it comes to human rights issues, we absorb so much catastrophic imagery and information on a day-to-day basis that sometimes the word forced displacement we can't quite understand. Like, I think social media can be so intense that you need a film to like really sit with something. I think that's going to be the end of film for me. I don't have too much else to say. It's also kind of a nice time because we're past the fall film, like we're past the festival season. I'm honestly more listening to my podcast that I love, Little Gold Men, about what is going to be coming out this fall. Okay, let's move on to television. Watched a lot of TV, as always, my favorite thing. I don't know if I think I talked about Yellow Jackets a bit in the last one. They kind of did pull it together a little bit with the finale, so I'm going to give them that. The Pit, I really loved The Pit. There were a lot of moments that were quite cringy, just text that was too woke. But then there's so many moments that were so incredible and like showed things that you just wouldn't expect. A ER medical drama on HBO Max. HBO Max? I think it's HBO Max again. But I think that HBO and their naming mechanism should inspire anyone that you can always change who you are. So don't let that stop you. It is created by the people who created ER. So it's really, they innovated that space in television to begin with. And then Noah Wiley was on that show. It kind of like took it in a slightly different direction with this hour by hour setup. The entire season is 15 episodes and it covers a 15-hour shift in an ER. You're seeing what happens when a medical system is broken. Our insurance world is crazy and people need care to save their lives. Like, which kind of see in real time how people are denied care, how that care is compromised through our system, pressure that it puts the providers under. And it's fascinating. It's so good. Noah Wiley is incredible. I think I have mixed feelings on the cast, but there are so many incredible performances happening. The like charge nurse, Dana Evans, played by Catherine Lanassa. Obsessed with this woman. Look at her. Smoking the cigarette. Someone recommended this on the last video, and I was actually already watching Say Nothing. Say Nothing is about the Irish Republican Army. It details 4 decades in Northern Ireland during the Troubles. As far as I understand, there was a project to do an oral history of the IRA because so much stuff is secret because so many people could still be arrested for the crimes that they committed because the political violence was so intense. It's really badass. The women in it are incredible. I think that brings up a lot of questions about activism, violent political activism. The idea was that the interviews would not be released until the participants died and serve as a resource for future historians. Yeah, so everything's pretty real in it, and it's just an incredibly structured series. I watched Andor when I had some sort of illness where I was just so sick. I literally couldn't do anything. I couldn't get up. I'm not a Star Wars person, and I am not a Disney Plus person at all. I don't usually watch shows on that platform. The production design and value is just insane. The episodes themselves are quite short as well. Like, I think it's really a testament to covering a lot of story in a short amount of time. I think they wanted it to be a 5-season arc, and they ended up only doing 2 seasons, so they divided 3 seasons into season 2, or maybe it was 4-season arc. A testament to writing and production and everything coming together in a very impressive way. I think it's really fun. I think also if you have someone in your life that loves that kind of media, it's a great thing to watch with them. Things that are kind of similar that have come out that people are talking about a lot are overcompensating in adults. I liked it. I thought that overcompensating in adults were both fine. I laughed. I enjoyed. Fun time. 25-minute episodes, 8 of them. Yeah, I think some stuff worked, some stuff didn't, but they were good, and I hope that they both get season 2s. Lots of really good breakout performers. The person that plays Haley on Overcompensating is incredible and deserves every award in my book. That was one of the best comedic performances I've seen. I really love Owen Thiel, who's on both shows, but specifically the episode 3 of Adults. I think if you're going to watch any episode, I would just watch that one. I hear from a bunch of people that they love it, and there's a bunch of online stuff about it, and then I have heard from many people that they think it is unwatchable. Last of Us season 2 was really bad, in my opinion. I think the episode 2 or where everything happens was good. It was a really big disappointment to me. I don't think I'm gonna watch season 3. I'm kind of done with it. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives season 2 was incredible. I watched the OC for the first time. I'm on season 2. They really just don't do TV like they used to with 27 episodes, which they don't need to. I really wish it was like 10, 12. Season 1 is really incredible. Poor Marissa. Okay, books. I'm really proud of myself because I actually read. Last time I did this, I had only read 3 books, and I read 11 books. A lot of these were very short and easy. But I also got a library card. I'm a New York Public Library member. Well, I have been for a long time, but I just didn't get my card renewed. I've been loving renting audiobooks. Health and Safety, A Breakdown by Emily Witt. It's a memoir-esque book about the the period of the Trump first-term presidency in New York, specifically her living in Bushwick and exploring Bushwick nightlife, rave culture, and psychedelic drugs. By day, she worked as a journalist covering gun violence, climate catastrophes, and the rallies of right-wing militias. At night, she pushed the limits of consciousness. She's basically extremely critical of New Yorkers, of the world, of politics, of herself. You're really immersed into her toxic relationship dynamics, just a lot of stuff going on. But then when she does go on and describe kind of the fracturing democracy of America, I find it to be fascinating. I think it was one of the best descriptions of how it felt to be a person, she's in her mid-30s when she writes, when this is all happened, seeing kind of democracy crumble, not really knowing how to respond, or being so shocked, but then the shock value is kind of wearing off because you're constantly shocked. It was fascinating. It just was really interesting. She speaks about New York in such a specific way. And it was one of the ones recommended in the thing I recommended last time, which was Amelia's Letters of Rec. So it was in one of those, and I had wanted to read it. I did listen to the audiobook. I will say I found her voice very grating. She has a kind of... so maybe don't listen to the audiobook. I thought The Guest by Emma Cline was mid. I really loved Good Material by Dolly Alderton. I don't think it's super profound in any way, but I think that it was just a really beautiful book and made me cry and think about life. I did not like All Fours by Miranda July. She's an incredible writer, and there were sections I found to be beautiful. I think between The Days of Abandonment, All Fours, and the biography of X, I accidentally read like 3 books in a row that were about women in their later years in life, and they were just simultaneously really inspiring and also depressing. I felt like I was going through menopause, and I was like, maybe it's a bit early for this. I did a bit of a book roundup also in I'm gonna talk about it in my June vlog. I don't know when I'm gonna post that. I read a lot of books, but I actually don't have too much to recommend. I really love The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, a Dominican family in Jersey. Their roots in the Dominican Republic and coming to America and going back and forth, and just really immerses you into the culture in a way that was really exciting and fun, and book like revs up. Another thing I did really like was the biography of X by Catherine Lacey. This is a really interesting book in the way it kind of like subverts the form. Honestly, I think I'll put this one here too, just because I think it's super interesting. A renowned artist dies, and then her wife is trying to kind of pick up the pieces of these elements of her life that were secret to her. X is the name of the artist who passed. Written like it's nonfiction, it's fiction. It also takes place in a fictionalized United States where the South seceded in the 50s. This X artist was born and raised in the South, but she can't talk about it her whole life because it's completely illegal to have left. Super fascinating. I think that the political perspective and lens is really cool. I just think that it didn't come quite together for me enough at the end, but I think that there's so many things offered in it, and it's such an interesting read. Very much recommend it. I also listened to the audiobook on this one, and I would recommend a physical copy because there's actually pictures in the text. Because you're trying to grasp this person that has so many secrets, I think that the physical stuff is really interesting. And now I'm moving into the rest of media, so podcast. Yeah, I think I'll throw this one in here. I listened to this one on occasion and was into it quite a while ago, but recently have been listening to it again. The Secular Buddhism podcast. It just kind of talks about Buddhist teachings, and specifically Tibetan Buddhism, with this host Noah Rasheta. He has a very calming presence. If you're just looking to approach life with a little bit more openness and kindness towards yourself and others. Yeah, I really like it. It's like very, very, very simple teachings in these kind of bite-sized formats. Another one, I don't think I'm going to add it to the list, but I sometimes listen to The Watch, which is a Ringer podcast. The hosts are a bit much for me. It's these 2 men who talk about television. I couldn't even tell you their names. If you're really into TV and you're into like the structure of shows, or there's a show that you watch, like if you watched Andor or The Pitt and you wanted to hear like TV writer / expert opinion on the structure, the script, what's going right, what's going wrong, I just find it really fascinating. I think it's really helped me identify what in TV isn't working. I don't think it's like a main rec because it's not something to listen to regularly. Theater, there was less stuff I wanted to see right now. The fall is a big time for movies and theater, so I see most of my stuff then. But I was also making a specific effort to see, and have been, to see all my friends' work. So that took up a little bit more of my like theater budget and time. Something that is still running that I would totally recommend seeing before it closes is John Proctor's The Villain. I just really loved this play. It is about a young class of kids. They're sophomores or juniors in high school in Georgia, rural Georgia, and they are experiencing the Me Too movement. So it's set in 2018. The girls in the class and how they're taking in the Me Too information and responding to it. And there's a big reveal about some dynamics that are happening in the classroom, and it kind of flips the play on its head. And also at the same time, they're learning the Crucible, and so it's called John Proctor is the Villain because they have this big statement, like John Proctor is the hero, but he's actually not, he's the villain. There's a lot of Lorde music in it. It's very cathartic. It was cheesy because it was Broadway, but then it was really deep when it needed to be deep, and the acting and just like everything was like stacked. And you could really tell they were bringing it like every night. So I was quite impressed. I think I got $40 cancellation tickets through, I don't know if you guys have ever submitted on the lottery. If you want to enter a lottery for a show, you can do telecharge. I'll usually just like enter. You can enter for whatever, and this is like a $50 ticket, but I actually got rush or cancellation tickets, and I ended up getting cancellation tickets for John Proctor. It was only $40. YouTube, Anna Woodward. This is actually also a podcast, but I love her YouTube forms of these. Oh my god, I don't know why I'm calling her Anna Woodward. Her name is Anna Howard. She basically has all these videos. They are also in podcast form, pull from a bunch of essays, Substack articles. Most of her content is surrounding the creative process, introducing creativity into your life, community building. She just has a lot of integrity, and I really like the videos. One of the best ones was definitely Why Selfish Women Heal Society. I think was my favorite one so far. It was specifically about how all religions have been created by men and are usually about enacting a selflessness, but women already kind of move in the world with that selflessness innately, and so we don't necessarily need to take that on. We actually need to take on a bit more, selfishness is the wrong word, but personhood. Yeah, she's super smart. I also think her way of connecting ideas, which she goes into detail deeply on about like how she creates these podcast episodes, is really helpful for anyone when they're wondering how to start a project. I also think that I am not a natural writer. I am more of a visual artist through my body and like visuals. That's like how I create work. However, when I have been wanting to make my own work and needing to make my own work, she has a really good way of like getting into that. And a lot of it mirrors how I have worked in my own way alone, but then hearing someone kind of validate it was really nice. And it's a lot of just like saving the things. It's exactly basically what I'm doing right now. Really looking at the things you're consuming and saving the things that you love, especially when it comes to like a YouTube video or an article or a quote. What is like hitting home right now, you know? And I think that always changes. That just like hits you in the heart, whether it's just the most random piece of art or a quote or whatever. I think her way of kind of tracking those things is a gateway into what do you want to work on? What do you want to write? What is your inspiration? What is the form coalesces around that content? So Anna, if you see this, I love it. I randomly found these playlists for music, guys, for overstimulation. And it's a lot of music that I already listened to. This being like the lo-fi YouTube playlist a lot. No Budge Short Films. They spotlight the best low-budget short films and indie features. We handpick our new favorite films and videos daily and host live screenings in Brooklyn. Yeah, it's just a really big variety of films. I think if you're interested in filmmaking and want to watch. There was one with the girl Haley from Overcompensating that all took place in an Uber that I loved. You can kind of just bop around, and some of them don't even really have that many views, and it's cool. I think they're also different, that you learn about your taste. Moving into products, beauty routines. A big thing that I've recently incorporated is this. I'm embarrassed saying it. I hate talking about like beauty products because I think it's so evil. I have recently incorporated has been collagen, and I was kind of anti-collagen for a long time. Studies were kind of coming back saying that it doesn't result in the creation of it. However, I was looking for ways to like incorporate more protein in my morning, but basically when I researched it more thoroughly, I found out that the research says, as far as they know right now, they don't have extensive enough research. They think that it works, specifically with like skin. It doesn't work for everybody. Like for some people, they saw market improvement, and for others, they just didn't, and it was kind of a toss-up. I don't know if that is accurate. I started using it and just like having a little bit of in my smoothie or adding it to water, and I actually have felt like I've noticed a difference. So I've been trying that out. I honestly kind of want to see how I feel about it, and like at the end of the year I'll probably just like return to it. I also was kind of genuinely just trying everything because I went through such a terrible period of hormonal breakouts earlier this year and like end of last year, and it was really tough on my mental state. So I think I just felt so like depleted. Even if it's placebo, the collagen invigorating me with vitality, the vital proteins of it all. I think I really like the vital proteins one. I've had this like weird credit through my health insurance, so I've been able to get it covered at the pharmacy. They are really expensive, so I know that there's other ones that are also good that are cheaper that you can try. I think you have to do it for like a month to see if it is doing anything. I think it does. It really takes time. But I did recommend the House Beauty Concealer in my last video, and as much as I am loving that concealer, I'm still loving it. I have been a little bit disappointed. The felt applicator at the end of the brush has fallen off both of my tubes. So I hope they fix that design flaw, but I wanted to give a disclaimer if anybody really wants to buy it. I usually use Glossier, Cloud Paint, which I've been using forever since they came out with it, because my roommate used to work at Glossier at the store, and so we would just have like all these extra stuff in the house. And I love Cloud Paint. I love the dusk shade. However, I finally tried out the Say Dew Blush in Lady, and it's just so pretty. Like, it just makes me feel really girly. I will say it's so pigmented, but I do love that about it, because it's like if you buy that little tube, you're gonna have it for a long time. Also, I also tried the lip oil gloss. The consistency of them is amazing. I tried Bubble, which together with the Lady shade. And I loved Bubble. I just think for me, it looked a little light. And so I would love to try, honestly, I think like this one. Pretty good about always like journaling when I'm feeling a little down, doing some sort of morning pages, just like brain dump, but I kind of wait until I'm feeling down to do it. And so I've been doing a new thing for a little bit, and I'm hoping that it continues where I'm doing a 10-minute meditation, and then depending on how busy my day is, I will do 5 to 10 minutes of reading a book about creativity. So it could be like The Artist's Way. Right now, I never finished The Creative Act, but I like had it and I read halfway through it. So I'm reading a few pages of it, 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how much time I have, and then 5 to 10 minutes of journal writing. The most important part is doing like at least of the 10 minutes of quiet meditation, and then I add on the others if I have the time. But ultimately, it's like, ideally, this is only taking me 25 to 30 minutes. I'm also really using it as a way to get myself prepared to then move in creative space if I am going to be writing or working on something. I think it kind of calms my nerves and sets me up in a less self-judgmental place. Do 10 meditation, 10 reading. Advice. This isn't necessarily advice, but I read this really cool article that I wanted to plug. It's in Harper's Magazine called The Re-Enchanted World by Karl Ove Knausgaard, and I realized it was translated, so he's Norwegian. It kind of goes into artificial intelligence and the joy of like learning how to do something. Okay, I'm just gonna go through this essay and the parts that kind of stuck out to me. He kind of speaks about alienation and technology and this loss of reality and how everything, like images and absorbing the world through technology, just feels separate. And he talks about this philosopher, Gilbert Simondon, had written about an alienation that wasn't due to technology, but due to our lack of knowledge about technology. By treating technology as a mere tool, reducing it to its utility, and denying its inherent dignity and complexity. By elevating it to mystical status, seeing it as an autonomous threat or an alien entity beyond human understanding. This was deeply foreign thought. It wasn't technology that was the problem, but my relationship to it. What kind of relationship did I have with technology? He ends up meeting with this scientist, I believe, in Greece, and they're having this conversation, and this was a section that I really liked. No, there's really nothing you can learn abstractly. The only thing you can do is experience it and do it yourself. You have to do it. You have to experience it. It has to happen to you, bodily, physically, because you're part of the world. The world is fucked, and because we are fucked, healing ourselves is part of healing the world. I don't know, there's a certain, like, tangibility to it all, and he speaks about working in the garden and just like and observing brain surgery and just all these crazy things, and it's like nothing clicks until it is physically enacted, learned, experienced. One of Stafford Beer's more famous and brilliant phrases was POSIWID, which stands for the purpose of a system is what it does. It's a kind of maxim of cybernetics. It's very good for diagnosing systems. Instead of saying, oh, we have a democratic system, we have an education system, you say the purpose of the system is what it does. And what our society produces is people who are undereducated or just educated enough to perform specific tasks. The way to get a good education is to study something that has high economic value. Apart from that, you're pretty fucked. The purpose of the system is to reproduce the existing power dynamics of that system again and again. That is what it does. Society has no interest in educating you in how technology works, because then you make your own technology, and you make different technology, and you upset the economic power balance, and so forth. But it is doable, and people are doing it all the time. You can do it yourself. I think it's just really interesting. It's basically like learning to do anything from start to finish is an act of resistance, and I always feel a lot of satisfaction by learning to do something. I realize it, and it's interesting that that is so physically and emotionally satisfying to us to operate outside of like this box that we're contained in. I've personally felt this in jobs and work where in corporate environments, people are rewarded for acting within a very specific box, and oftentimes not for actually accomplishing tasks, but the performance of accomplishing tasks, like the reproduction of the structure of the corporation is the most valuable thing rather than the profit. It's more the staying power of an institution. So this was a really interesting way of concretizing it in a way that also tied back so much to technology and why we feel so alienated. I feel like that's good. I mean, I think that this was Q2, April to June. Let me know what you think. Let me know other recs that I should watch in July, August, and September. And I will be back. Also, I like filming this style of video, so there are other things I could talk about in this capacity in terms of making work and living in New York, and I don't know. There are things that you'd like to see kind of broken down in this capacity. I can. People ask me to show my Notion. I kind of feel like that's ripping my heart open, so I don't know if I'm there yet, but we'll think about it. I do think I could do something about creative process personally. I always feel lost within it. I don't think my process is perfect. I think it's still coming, but I do think I have a bit more grasp on it than I did when I was younger. So without further ado, that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I can't believe you stayed the whole time to listen to me gab, and I will be back soon.